Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the IEEE STEM Summit. This is day two of the summit, and we've got a lot of exciting sessions today. Um, but before we get started, let me remind you of some housekeeping. Have in mind that all sessions will be recorded, are being recorded for later viewing. During the presentations today, you can post your speaker questions into the chat window on the right of the event window. Please use the session chat, not the event chat. Um, Make sure to take actions within the event to earn leaderboard points, and the top five of you will receive a prize. I will announce the winners during the closing ceremony. Join the continued STEM Summit conversation on our Collaborative and Facebook communities. Please use hashtag IEEE Summit. And of course, make sure to download your participation certificate and badge under the resources section from the reception page. We always have to remind you that we are grateful for IEEE Foundation that is supporting us. We've got an IEEE Engineering Fund there where you can donate. Um, there's no lower limit, so even $5 is enough. Those funds will help us create resources, lesson plans, and maintain the resources we already have, and of course, fund the Try Engineering STEM grants. And for this year, IEEE Foundation is kind enough to match your donation. So if you like, for example, donate $5, we're getting 10. So please, if donate now. All right. Our session now is a case study of disruptive STEM innovation in India by Atal Tinkering Labs, and the presenters is Prasan Nair. He's the head and vice chairman and internal quality assurance at the internal quality assurance cell of, I hope I'm pronouncing those difficult words correctly, Amrita Viswa Vidyapitha. I hope I didn't destroy the pronunciations. So I'm calling Prasant on stage. Welcome, Prasant. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Stamatis, the kind introduction. Your pronunciation was spot on. Uh, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all folks from different time zones all over the world. Uh, a warm welcome to the second day of the IEEE STEM Summit. This is a very inspiring event, and as one of the STEM champions, it's been an absolute honor to be part of this community, which is doing a lot of good. It's a force for good for STEM education and STEM outreach worldwide. Without much ado, I will start my slides. I hope my slides are visible. Can you please confirm if my slides are visible? Yep, I think so. Yeah.
Yes, they are. You're all
Okay.
set.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna be talking to you about a very impactful program in India, which I thought was a very good case study for replication across the board, which is called the Atal Tinkering Labs. It's a new concept, and it's I happen to be on the national committee of this Atal Tinkering Labs, purely on a volunteering basis, on a pro bono basis. And in the last 7 or 8 years, I've seen this program grow from strength to strength. And I think there is sufficient cause that this can be kind of replicated across the board in developed economies, emerging economies, and the sort. Now, in terms of the why STEM innovation is needed. Well, today, the world as we know is characterized by this, this VUCA world, as they say. The world is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. On top of it, you have to satisfy your customers. You have tremendous competition, globalization, pricing pressures, and everywhere you have the ubiquitous, the pervasive internet and social media. So we are living in such a world today. And on top of it, STEM innovation is the only leveler that can move this world forward, especially when we are having such complexity, strife, and so on. Now, nobody can predict when the next tsunami is going to be coming. Nobody can predict when the next supply chain is going to be disrupted as a result of a pandemic. Nobody knows when the next pandemic is going to affect us. And the only way to address this is through innovation, STEM innovation, innovation in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, which is the only way for the world to move forward. And that's why this summit is of paramount importance, in the sense that we are trying to deliberate how to develop the next generation of educate students who are going to take over the reins of the world. So that is extremely important and topical in that world. Now, innovation is a great leveler. Innovation has resulted in transformation. I wanted to just take a couple of examples. Today, the largest media company in the world is Facebook. Facebook has over 3 billion subscribers, monthly subscribers. But do you know the interesting thing about Facebook? Even though they have 3 billion subscribers, Facebook does not create any content. The content is created by you and me, the subscribers of Facebook. So you have the largest media company in the world, but the largest media company in the world does not create content. You have the largest taxi company in the world called Uber, but very interestingly, Uber does not own any of those cars. You have a company called Alibaba that does billions of dollars of sales and in a single day. But you go to any mall, you go to the Mall of America in Minnesota, you go to the Surya Mall in Kuala Lumpur, you go to any mall, you don't see a Alibaba shop, you don't see a retail establishment. The retailer exists purely on cyberspace. That is the beauty of innovation. That is the power of innovation. And this is what we need to leverage. So I have been very active in the innovation journey. Although I am a university professor most focused on administration and rankings and quality, I spend a lot of time with students trying to build them, prepare them for innovation. And it's been a wonderful joyride. Almost 30 university teams from the university that I'm employed, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham in South India, which is ranked as the top private university in India, and 20 plus school, children that I mentor have, won exciting hackathons globally. We just came back a couple of weeks from Malaysia after, becoming the runner up in a hackathon. And many of these have been, at the national level, at the international level. We have represented the national hackathon team of the country of India. And it's been a wonderful journey. And that's how I got connected to this program of the government of India on a purely on a pro bono basis, called the Atal Innovation Mission. Atal Innovation Mission is a body run by the government of India's planning commission, directly reporting to the Prime Minister, which aims to build a culture of grassroots innovation across the country. And this is targeted at different sections of the society, of the community, so as to speak. So for the school students, right, school children, they have set up 10,000 plus tinkering labs. I will come to that a little later. There is They have set up incubation centers for startups and companies, young early stage startups, and the numbers are awesome. They have started up 72 incubators, and more than 3,500 startups have already been incubated from these, out of which 30% are led by women driven startups. They have community innovation centers that look at focusing on community challenges. They have other challenges that kind of focus on solving issues and problems of the government ministries and so on. So it's a very comprehensive program, which is very much, of course, it's a government program, but it is driven totally by volunteers, like volunteers like us, that who are involved in IEEE. And the strength, I would say, one of the the force multiplier is because of the mentors, which I will come to a little later. Now I come to this program, this Atal Tinkering Lab. A tinkering lab is a kind of a maker space which is meant for students who are in the 6th to 12th grade. So after they reach the age of 12, they can get involved. And this is basically a maker space with very advanced equipment. The model started in the late 2016, 2017 or so. We started with 250 tinkering labs in schools, and today it has been operationalized. There are 10,000 plus tinkering labs across the length and breadth of India. And almost all the districts in India, 700 plus districts, all the states and union territories in India, if you see the map, they've got tinkering labs. Some have more, some have less, and so on. But there's not a single state that has not been covered by this. And each tinkering lab costs almost 2 million rupees to make. Well, in from an Indian point of view, it's a lot of money. And it focuses on actually trying to build a grassroots kind of level, where children who are after the age of 12, they focus on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, get the actual skills in a very hands-on manner. They get guided by mentors who are totally pro bono. They don't take a dime from anybody. They travel to the school on their own dime. They don't ask any even the travel is done by the mentor. And a very collaborative environment and ecosystem that has been created. And if you see the impact of this program, today more than 11 million children across India have been impacted by this program in various school Atal Tinkering Labs, as well as various competitions, innovation challenges, project competitions. They have developed a whopping 1.6 million projects. Well, some of them are awesome. Some of them even have been transformed into a company, a startup. Some of them have got patents. Some of them have got recognition worldwide. Some of them have been showcased in IEEE events and so on. But just imagine a school, a student who's probably 13 or 14. He has his own startup. He has his own company. Well, that's the kind of impact the program has had. Now, the program has got a very, very structured, format. In terms of the equipment in the tinkering lab, I said it's almost 2 million rupees. Out of that, 1 million is like a capex, a capital expenditure, which is given upfront when they set up the lab. And the remaining 1 million rupees is given in 3 installments, like an operational expenditure or an OPEX kind of thing. And what the lab entails, it has got equipment for physical computing, IoT, sensors, robotics, electronics development tools, soldering tools, computers, laptops, 3D printer. That kind of equipment is there, and there is a focus on different aspects. How to get the ideation in, how to get involved in algorithmic thinking, problem solving, computational thinking, design thinking. And of course, once these students are able to get some outcomes out of it, how do you take it? You protect the intellectual property, help them for patenting, help them for those kind of aspects. It's a very structured kind of program, the curriculum. And now the Ministry of Education of Government of India has mandated that every school you should have at least 1 or 2 hours in the timetable of the school to focus on this. So this is completely beyond the curriculum. So every week on the school timetable from 6th to 12th grade, they have at least 1 or 2 hours where they go to this lab and kind of tinker and focus. Now, to add on to that, it also has the Atal innovation mission and the tinkering labs. The central committee organizes a lot of competitions, marathons. The whopping numbers happen. There are two major events called the marathon, which is like a hackathon. Last, if I remember, they were like the last edition, there were like 25,000 plus students had registered. There is another entrepreneurship boot camp called the Tinkerpreneur, where I believe almost 9,000 or 10,000 registrations were there, which happens in the summer. It is a completely online kind of thing. Now, this tinkering lab, we have to kind of acknowledge that it was kind of inspired by the design thinking model of Stanford University, and one of the people who was instrumental in conceptualizing this program was Professor Tarun Khanna from the Harvard Business School. And the present mission director, of course, he is a associate professor in MIT, and he kind of brings that expertise, in engineering and sociology from MIT to this program. And this program is moving from strength to strength. We are seeing a lot of visitors from across the world coming and visiting the tinkering labs, trying to replicate. And it's not only emerging economies, it's all developing countries or developing economies. We are seeing many of the developed economies also kind of coming to kind of study this program. So it's a very exciting program, to so as to speak. Now, as I mentioned, it's a very structured curriculum across 3 levels. As I mentioned, in that 1 or 2 hours in every week, this curriculum is given in a structured manner. And as a whole, it focuses, the first level is basic electronics, mechanics, 3D design, printing, visualization. And the first level, you can finish it in 14 sessions. It's a little adaptive. If you want, you can take more sessions. There are hands-on programs and so on and so forth. And as you move to the next level, you have more advanced modules like electronics, mechanics, entrepreneurial thinking, design thinking, 3D design, and so on and so forth. But it's a kind of a very hands-on program. The student can do it in an adaptive fashion as per his or her, this thing. And it's not 14 sessions. I mean, you may take 18 sessions to complete. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It's very it's as I mentioned, it's outside the curriculum, so it's kind of optional, but the students are so excited about doing it. And we see that this is as having a force multiplier effect when it comes to when these students go from high school to college. We see them shining, doing extremely well when they go into a professional and engineering or a computing career, or even arts and humanities careers. So, as I mentioned, the impact has been amazing. 11.5 million students have been impacted. Almost a million innovation and projects have happened. And the very interesting thing is, globally, we know that private schools are generally better, well off in terms of funding. But 60% of this 10,000 are pure government schools. And many of these government schools are in very, very rural areas. The connectivity is bad. As you know, India is a very huge country, but we are seeing that the connectivity, even though they are in very remote areas, this has made a huge impact, especially women, girls. A lot of girls highly excited in terms of an empowerment mechanism. Also, this has really made a big change. And we are seeing some of the students having their own startups, getting patents. And similar, there is a picture. Some of these pictures show these kind of one of the team won $200,000 in a challenge for their innovation. So this is the kind of impact that has happened. As I mentioned, it's a very structured program. A lot of resources are available online. They're open source. Anybody and everybody can have. We also do one thing. We try to help the schools that do not have this tinkering lab. There is a community program where we try to help them. If there is in one city maybe 5 schools have got this tinkering lab. They will reach out to another, each of them will reach out to 5 or 10 schools that do not have this tinkering lab, and try to support them, at least in terms of helping in triggering the innovation, so as to speak. uh, yeah, just some pictures of the modules that are there, that are open source available: gaming, AI, Tinkercad, and so on. And so this process is very well structured. From the journey, that is, you start and establish a thing. You have a very structured training for the school teachers, which is done online, and also the volunteers or the mentors do. The modules are structured. There's a clear calendar of activities, and the whole thing is also monitored through an IT application. So what all these 10,000 schools, it's not possible to visit them physically, but through a dashboard we are able to monitor what they are doing. They have to give the progress. They have to and ultimately it is public money, taxpayers money. So yeah, every rupee is kind of where that rupee has gone, that is monitored in terms of the utilization and the fund allocation, and so on and so forth. And the schools are also incentivized in terms of if they do very well, they are incentivized with various ways. They're given certificates. They're showcased on social media. Very active social media channel with a lot of followers is there on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, X, and of course Instagram. So this is the kind of the journey of an ATL. There's a good YouTube channel with hundreds and videos, which anytime you can go and refer them, and so on. And these are the most remote locations in India. Sikkim is a northeastern state, very near China. Where it's on the hill. The whole state is on a hill, but they've done amazing work. Kargil is the kind of another very very remote location on top of the mountain. The Andaman and Nicobar is an island. Actually, it's very close to Thailand. It's an island union territory. There also we have a ATL. So it's across the length and breadth of the country, and universally speaking, there has been an impact everywhere. Now, what drives this program? This is what I was trying to tell you. This is where I see the commonality of what IEEE can do. This program is driven by mentors. The entire Atal Innovation Mission staff they barely have 20 staff members for managing the 10,000 schools. There is a mentors are the people who run it. Mentors are pro bono workers. They may be employed in a college or a university, in a startup, in government body, and they make it a point to help do pro bono activity like what we do in IEEE. And there is a kind of a guideline that you should at least spend a couple of hours every week in the school, either physically meet them, or you can but you have to do it on your own time. Nobody will pay for the travel and stuff like that. It's a pure pro bono stuff. And we are having close to 6,200 mentors here. And these mentors are also like ambassadors. They try to explore partnerships with government agencies, professional societies. I remember I don't know if you are aware of a program called IEEE Assist. I think they have an innovation challenge. It happens. It was in R8 somewhere. I think in Tunisia or not sure, Egypt. But we were able to have these tinkering lab students go and imagine going. Probably it's the first time they've gone abroad out of the country, but it's made a tremendous impact that way. And these mentors, they don't get any money, but they get a lot of recognition in terms of they get a lot of exposure. They are highlighted on social media and stuff, and they also get a chance to connect with the Indian policymakers, maybe even the planning commission head, or union ministers, and that kind of things they get. That is the only thing they get in terms of the recognition. So I have been, as I mentioned, last 7-8 years, I've been very much involved. It's very exciting. In addition to my university teaching and academic administration, it's been very good. I have got very lucky. I've been very lucky. A lot of projects have won a lot of it. Just to give you one example of a project. So this is somewhere in South India, a state called Tamil Nadu. There are kind of rural and tribal locations, very near forest areas. And one problem that we were facing is in especially the districts called Nilgiris, Valparai, Konur. there's a lot of animal attacks, elephants and wild cats and stuff like that. So these children, using a microcontroller based a car, they build an app that sends alerts through Wi-Fi to the forest officials that hey, could be an animal attack over here, through that kind of thing. And it's really made a big change for those, maybe the animal may not attack a human being, but they'll come and take the chickens or kind of thing. It's a very exciting, and this got a lot of awards, and they were actually even applying for a patent, for this thing. So these are the kind of very impactful event things that that connect to the community, and it's driven by the mentors. It's the mentors who do that. That's the thing. It's a replicatable model. That's why I was feeling that this is something that we could showcase to the world. And you see, many we get visitors not only from emerging economies. The picture of Rishi Sunak, the former prime minister of India, United Kingdom, sorry. When he visited India, he visited one of the tinkering labs near Delhi, and he was super excited, with the kind of simple but very impactful innovations that the children had done. And I think IEEE has a lot of things we can work out. IEEE Try Engineering is doing awesome work. STEM champions, we are many of the STEM champions are involved. Site, Humanitarian Technology Board, Tech for Good, Epics, these are just some of the possibilities. Already at some level we have had some kind of collaboration in terms of that. So that's all from my side. I close with this: never stop learning. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak in the STEM Summit. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I think we have 4 minutes. So, Lynn, I think I kept the time. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prashant. Thank you so much. It was a very interesting presentation, and this is a very interesting initiative. So we've got some questions from the audience. Let me find some. Okay.
How has collaboration with IEEE enhanced the ATL program? So, as I mentioned, it's been a collaboration not at a very higher level. It's been at a more of a volunteer level. As I mentioned, this IEEE Assist is an innovation challenge. In that innovation challenge, we had this tinkering lab students travel to Egypt, travel to Tunisia, I think Egypt, if I'm not mistaken, and they won prizes in the innovation challenge. Many of the STEM champions that I know, my community of STEM champions, especially in art, and they are also mentors for this tinkering lab program, because it's a pro bono activity. I mean, you have a college degree, you can become a mentor. It doesn't matter. Mentor need not be a techie, a person who's into computer science or engineering or something. A mentor can be in any area, because a mentor is like an ambassador, a hand holder, somebody who supports the program. We have mentors who are in biotechnology. There we have mentors who are English and humanities faculty or researchers and stuff like that. So at that operational level, we have had a lot of collaboration, but at a macro level, at a higher level, we are yet to kind of reach out. Probably I will reach out to Stamatis, the PUCC, the committees, and see how we can take this forward in terms of a better collaboration. Thank you, Bobby, for that
Absolutely.
question. What do you think is the biggest yeah. It's also a very good question from Mr. Walter Hyde from Houston. What do you think is the biggest challenge in starting a STEM outreach program in emerging economies? If you ask me, it is the stakeholders getting a buy-in from the stakeholders. Many a time, these stakeholders, it could be children, it could be parents, it could be people in the village. Many of them have mistrust, and they don't trust you prima facie. Probably they think you have some sort of vested interest. So building their trust is probably the biggest challenge. I don't think connectivity is anymore a challenge. Now today, in today's world, I think connectivity is available, and if you're not able to physically go, you have tools. I mean, everybody has a smartphone. Even in emerging economies, I think people have smartphones and stuff like that. Maybe internet connections are sometimes patchy in some places. I agree, but I think getting the confidence, winning the confidence of the stakeholders is the biggest challenge. And I see another challenge is motivating volunteers. Volunteers, you shouldn't expect much, but then sometimes that is also a challenge. You have to incentivize. I think we are.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. We're out of time. Of course, you have your contact details, so the attendants could, the attendees could contact you. Um, may I request to stop sharing so that I share
Yeah, yeah,
my,
yeah, I'm good.
my logistic
Yeah,
slides?
I did that.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you.
So,
Thank you, sir.
it was our pleasure. So, um, we've got a lot, as I've told you at the beginning of the session, we've got a lot of sessions after this one. We will have now 15 minutes of break, and then we will have the presentation for exploring pedagogical approaches in Arduino robotics through hands-on experience. And then at 11 EDT, we will have our keynote. Uh, and then, of course, we've got an interesting panel about OnSemi and its role in shaping advanced semiconductor technologies. And then we're going to have a session about AI and redefining education in the generative AI era. And at 2:15, I will tell you a few things about try engineering, our tools, and how they can impact STEM education. Well, at 3, we will have a networking session so that we can all meet and exchange ideas and concerns. So see you in 13 minutes.